All right, so today, a little bit more of a heavy topic. I'm going to start by saying I think depression is a really serious thing, and I joke about everything. And I joke about depression. I joke about everything. But in America right now, I don't know clinically like how many people have been diagnosed. I didn't do any research. I just wrote down depression and how you can cure it. And cure is not the right word. Mitigate it at the very least. But people in America have been talking about depression for a while now, and we mostly understand it as, well, there's something a little off in your brain. There's an imbalance of some sort, and it could be from childhood trauma. It could be from just a natural disposition to be a little sad. There's a bunch of other stuff. And the reality is, it's all the information seems to be so all over the place. And I think what it usually tends to come down to, and I'm not at all saying that this is for everybody, and this might not help you at all, but I would appreciate it if you do listen and just put some thought into it and see if this is your situation. Sometimes depression is just because you're not doing what you feel like you're meant to be doing. It can be very situational. Somebody's depressed because they go to work at the same job every day. They don't like their job. They come home to a house they don't like, or a little tiny apartment they don't like. They go to their family's house every weekend to watch football or whatever, but they don't like their family and they don't even like football. They're just doing the things that they think they're supposed to do, but they don't feel they're supposed to do. And there's a lot of like, the whole like, oh, it's, it's all girly, whatever, don't follow. Feelings are important. Like, the way you feel is very important. Depression is a feeling, essentially, like an emotion. It's an issue that is, you're not feeling happy. Like, if we want to just simplify it, and you're not supposed to be happy all the time. That's a goal that people set for themselves it doesn't even make sense. A baseline of in a decent mood would be wonderful, but to expect to be happy 7 days a week, even 12 hours a day, much less 24, is kind of crazy. I'm not happy all the time. I'm also not sad all the time. But I'll just go down my personal story, tell you kind of where I'm at on it, and it's interesting. There was a time where, much like a closeted preacher, the gay dudes that preach about how sinful it is to be gay, and then they get caught at a Motel 6 with 3 men and a little bit of meth doing some fun stuff. First off, I always like those preachers better after, because yeah, you're a hypocrite, but at least you're fun. At least you're getting some booty hole action. I think that's cool. I don't know about the meth part, but I'm glad you're having a good time. That being said, all the times you were talking shit about the people doing what you're doing, not cool. But that's the ultimate level of hypocrisy, and I was there at some point. Not with the gay shit. Not yet. Boom! Okay. Give me 36 years, I'll probably try it. Okay. I was depressed from a very young age. And I mean very young. Like, I don't actually remember... I remember moments of happiness and joy when I was a kid. And there's no reason to point to specifically. People might say, there's this or that or whatever, your mom didn't hug you enough. My parents were very, I had a very stable home environment. I always had clean clothes. I always had food. My mom is one of the sweetest people alive. And I was just super depressed. I don't mean like I'm kind of feeling sad sometimes. Like, I'm not going to say the words on here because I feel like it'll make it where less people see it. But I had a little voice in the back of my head telling me to stop all my problems, if you know what I'm saying. And that sucked. It was really not fun at all. My guess is it started around 7, 8, 9 years old, something like that. I was really young. And I remember some of the thoughts I had when I was a little kid. I remember some of the things I tried to do to myself when I was a little kid that now, like, thinking of my kid in that situation makes me so sad. And there wasn't like a reason. There wasn't like I feel this way because I don't have this, or I do have this, or this happened to me, or nothing. like, I'm not saying I had a perfect childhood by any means. My dad and I didn't get along very good. My brothers were fucking chaotic, to say the least. I I got punished for a lot of things I didn't do because my brothers would do stuff, and then if we don't all admit to it, everybody gets punished. And a lot of things I disagree with my dad on as far as parenting style stuff, but none of that should have caused depression. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're talking environmental, well, I don't know. And then I went through a phase where I was thinking, if I can pretend it doesn't exist, then maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe I can think it's not real to make it not real, if that makes sense. So I got to a point where I would discount other people's depression. So I would see somebody post on Facebook or Instagram that they were struggling with depression, or that they just got medicated and it was helping them, which I do not think medication for most people is a good idea. I've been told by a lot of people it's a good idea for some. I think if you have a great healthcare provider and you go to the right people, I'm not at all saying it's all bad, but I don't think it's a good fix for most things. I think it's a good fix to make you feel a little better about the situation you're in, but I think it's a short-term crutch in most cases, and I don't think it helps most people. But like I said, everybody's different, and I don't know. But anyway, people would say they were depressed, and I wouldn't like go after them and attack them, like, no, you're not. But I remember one time, I posted something on Facebook saying something along the lines of, I really don't understand depression. Like, if you're sad all the time, then why don't you just go out and try to change it? And essentially I was talking to myself. I said it to tell people what I thought about it, like what I think, like, you're fucking up. But I was really talking to me, and I shouldn't have put it out there on the internet. It probably made people feel worse in a situation that they already didn't feel good. But the thing is, I was trying to convince myself that it wasn't real, that I wasn't experiencing what I was experiencing. And every time I saw a commercial for, depression medication or something like that, I was like, that doesn't seem like a good idea. And I still stand by that. But then I went into a bunch of different things. I went, okay, if I get this next thing, will I be happy? If I make this amount of money, will I be happy? And the reality is, none of those things, I did all of them. Pretty proud of myself, actually. Like, I set goals that I was like, if I reach this goal, will I be happy? No. But what I learned along the way is chasing that goal was pretty short-term satisfying. Like, the pursuit of anything does make me a little happier. But then, fast forward to, I don't know, I'm going to say less than 10 years ago. It was, I don't know, in my mid-20s, I hit a point where I was like, okay, I'm going to have to try to do something here. I'd never smoked weed. I'd never drank alcohol. I'd never done any kind of drug intentionally. I had been drugged a few times. Some inhalant stuff was given to me one time, and I was told it was helium when I was a little kid, and I was unconscious. So my association with drugs was very limited. And then I just decided, you know what, if every single day, I haven't even been able to, my goal every day was to try to make it a minute without a very bad thought. I would get close to a minute sometimes, and if I was doing something really exciting, every now and then I would hit a minute or two. I'd be like on a zip line or something. I might get a minute. If I drive 140 miles an hour, get a minute there. But it wasn't fucking getting better. I wasn't getting better at all. And I was like, okay, maybe just like a break. Maybe weed, from what everybody's told me, will put me in a good mood, make me feel good, whatever. And it didn't do anything like what I thought it would, but it did help a lot. And by that I don't mean I was smoking 6 blunts a day and not doing anything. I wasn't letting it get in the way of anything. It was like, hey, it's bedtime. I'm going to go walk the dog, get a little smoky, come back, hit some air freshener because I didn't want my kids to know, because I didn't know at the time how to explain to my little kids what weed was, much less that I was smoking it. Um, they eventually learned what it was, and I got caught, and that was a nice relief. And then I realized I don't really need to keep any secrets from my kids for the most part. I mean, there's some stuff they probably don't need to know about yet, but for the most part, like anything I'm doing, they can know. And weed helped. Weed helped a lot. But it was, again, short term. So chasing things helps a little bit short term. You got something going on that's really fun. It's going to help a little bit. But then we got to the point where I started getting into the chemical side of it, going, okay, what's wrong with me that my brain is acting this way despite my desire to be in a good mood all the time? I have everything you could possibly imagine as far as, I mean, I'm not a fucking millionaire. I don't have, 65 cars in my driveway. I don't even have a driveway that would fit that many cars. I can't even put my car in the garage because I got a bunch of other shit in the garage. But I have a house that's decent and I like it. I have 3 kids. I have a wife. Everything's going smooth. I own a business. I get to travel. I really kind of have it all. Like, not to the point where I'm not trying to show off and say, I'm just saying I'm very happy with the things I have. And I should be closer to content. But at that point, I'm still not close to content. So I started looking into different things. And there's a few things. Really low doses of psilocybin. A bunch of people have heard about that. Microdosing, like tiny amounts, I've been told helps a ton of people a ton. And from personal experiences, I can say really tiny amounts. Good idea. Don't do drugs, though. Weed, whatever amount you want within reason. But psilocybin, like microdosing, I think has helped a lot of people. I also think the unguided, I'm just going to randomly take some, is not a good idea. Like, if I were speaking to somebody else about what they should do, not for myself, I would say find a schedule that is recommended by somebody that's been doing a lot of research on it and stick to that schedule with like 2, 3, 4 tenths, not huge doses. And then have some time where you do and some time where you don't. But the whole idea of microdosing is it's supposed to be an amount you can't really feel. It's not supposed to be, woo! And most people go, oh, I'm microdosing. I only took a gram. And I'm like, no, you're dosing. You're just like, colors are starting to get weird, aren't they, buddy? So that's one thing that I think helped and helps a lot of people. But then I started looking into more and more and more stuff. Lion's mane mushrooms. If you have troubles with depression and you take lion's mane mushrooms, it makes a huge difference. And I'm speaking from personal experience. But the one that's crazy that, like, it sounds so dumb, almost all Americans have a vitamin D deficiency. And I think the numbers are like 80% or higher have a vitamin D deficiency. It's a lot. You can look it up. I don't fucking know. It's been a long time since I researched it. But vitamin D is a very, very important vitamin that helps you produce the right hormones to not be in a bad mood. So how I've completely, and I say completely, I've had a few days where, I feel a little down. I get a little crazy. My brain's not working perfectly now. But I would say if somebody said, are you a depressed person or do you suffer from depression? I would say definitely not. If we're talking about more than 5 years ago, holy shit, yeah. Wrecked with it. It was terrible. So a few things I've done. I mean, I'm doing comedy now. That definitely helps, like having some kind of outlet that's not my job and is still a creative, fun thing to do. But taking vitamin D sounds insane. I used to take vitamin D in like little capsules. I've got it in liquid form and all kinds of different stuff. Here's what I recommend to everybody, and I'm not joking. If you want to try to disregard all the stuff that you might fail a drug test or you might be worried about it being this or that or whatever, very low risk here. I don't know if there's any risk to taking a regular dose of vitamin D. So very low risk. Vitamin D and K gummies. There's these vegan gummies. They're little orange gummy bears on Amazon, and they have vitamin D and K, and they have coconut oil in them, so they have enough fat that your body absorbs the vitamins. And I still take it with food, but you can take them by themselves, and they seem to work. Get 3 bottles of it. Don't buy 1 bottle of it. Go ahead and buy 3. and take, if it says that, I believe it says to take like 1 or 2 a day. I want to say it's one. It's like 5,000 IUs. I'm not saying to overdose yourself. This is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what would happen, but just take a shitload of it, okay? So what I started doing is I started taking like 3 or 4 times the recommended dose, 7 days a week. And then once I felt like I got where theoretically my levels should be where they're at, I started taking like 2 or 3 a day. But I'm taking more than the regular dose every single day, 7 days a week. Very, very rarely do I forget or have some kind of thing come up where I don't have access to it. I have it in my cabinet at the house. I have it at the shop where I work. I basically treat them as snacks. I make sure there's vitamin D in my multivitamin. I make sure I'm consuming vitamin D any way I can. And it sounds so dumb, but I believe vitamin D can essentially cure depression. I think a lot of people, I'm not saying this is everybody, there's going to be a huge number of people that this is not going to fix them, but you could just have a vitamin D deficiency that is that bad. It is entirely possible. It is very common. If you ask any doctor that does labs on people, or you pull the research on any blood work, vitamin D deficiency is huge. If you look at what vitamin D does for you, it's kind of important that you have it in your system. So it sounds like such a small thing, and it sounds like it couldn't possibly help. And I honestly, I think if you don't believe me, I know where you're coming from. I've been there. I've been in a situation where I was like, there's absolutely no way just some vitamins would help. Why would I even do it? But the thing is, if you can afford to buy the vitamins, you have absolutely nothing to lose. I mean, literally nothing to lose. If you can get the vitamins, you have nothing to lose. I just might have missed a turn, so I'm just going to pull over here and finish telling you what I'm telling you, and then we'll get out of here. But the only barrier that I can think of would be money. I can't promise this to everybody, but if you message me directly and you're interested in taking vitamin D and you legit can't afford it, at least a couple people, until it becomes a financial issue. I don't think this is going to be a huge video anyway. I'll send you some. You just send me your address. I'll order it on Amazon and have it sent to your house. And I'll send you 1 bottle of it. And then basically what I'll do is say, again, not a doctor, I don't want to get you in trouble, but like take double the dose at least until the bottle's gone. And then let me know how you feel. But one thing I noticed about this that, like, I thought maybe I was wrong and maybe I was crazy. A few times in the past 4 years or so, I've had a couple times where I forgot. Now I'm like dialed in, but I had a couple times where I just forgot to take my vitamins for like a week. I was just busy. And then I got super duper depressed. 7 or 8 days after not taking them, I would start getting a little weird. And then I realized the only thing that was correlating with those times I was super depressed was that I had stopped taking my vitamins. That being said, there was chaos going on in my life in those times and stuff like that too. So there could be other factors, but it's just like, what do you have to lose? Like, I get it. This huge problem, and I mean huge problem that you might have. You're going, this is a giant problem. Can I really fix it with a stupid fucking vitamin? This guy's an idiot. I kind of agree with you on the idea of that, but at the same time, what do you have to lose and why not try it? Like, it's crazy, but it's a fucking vitamin. Our bodies need it. And if you're one of those people that says, oh, we'll just go out in the sun. Dude, I'm in the sun a lot. A lot of people don't believe me that I'm in the sun a lot because I'm not that dark. But I'm in the sun a lot. And I burn easy and my skin fucking falls off if I don't use sunblock and have a hat and everything. But it's just one of those things. It's so simple. It sounds crazy, and I know it. You have no reason to believe me. But I would love it if you would just try it anyway. I really think it'll help you. And if you can afford to, I would say get 3 months worth before you even think about it. Just go every day. I'm going to take them for 3 months. Make sure it's in my system for a while and find out. Because